All right. Woo!
All right.
Hello and welcome to the Punchlines and Plot Twist official podcast. This is our first episode. And so we're just going to explain who we are and what we're going to be doing real quick. First off, I'm one of your hosts, Caleb.
I'm the co-host, Slim.
And essentially, what we're going to be doing is we will be releasing 2 episodes per week for you. The first one is going to be the Punchlines episode. This is going to be everything MMA related, anything martial arts related, actually. We are going to talk about the UFC a lot. In this episode specifically, we're going to recap UFC 314, Volkanovski versus Lopez.
And we're also going to give predictions and the overlook on the next fight night, Protest versus Ian Gary Machado.
That is right. So, before we get into this, just a little background on us. We have been friends since sophomore year of high school.
Too long.
A very long time.
Yeah,
we've lived together, we've worked together, and we've been talking about doing a podcast for years now, and we finally just decided to pull the trigger and get this done.
Yeah, so welcome to episode 1.
Let's get into it.
Where are you going? We haven't even started. Punchlines and plot twists. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Alrighty, let's get into the UFC 314 recap. The first fight we're going to be talking about was the matchup between Tresean Gore and Marco Tulio. This fight only lasted 2 rounds. It went 3 minutes and 16 seconds into the second round, where Marco Tulio won by KO TKO. Marco Tulio really showed up and showed out that night.
Yeah.
Like, he showed absolute astounding power and speed in his hands. He was putting good combos together that was powerful. But he was taking a lot of damage from Frank Gore too.
I was about to say, I didn't want to interrupt you, but his chin held up.
Yes, because Frank Gore was swinging some fucking hands.
He's
like
just throwing
he,
some bombs.
Yeah, he was putting every ounce of power he had into it. In this fight, Marco Tulio landed 140 significant strikes, which in 2 rounds is pretty impressive. Actually, sorry, that was 140 total strikes, 127 significant strikes. But he also absorbed 17 significant strikes from Tresean Gore, which Tresean Gore does not hit lightly. So
That's still a big difference in strikes. It was just a domination. That's all it really was.
Absolutely.
That's what I saw it as. It's just a lot of power, and he just never stopped throwing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Active through all the fights.
Yeah, definitely. So we're also going to be giving you guys our prediction for and our recommendation to the UFC on who we think should be the next matchup. We're going to play matchmaker a little bit for each fight too. So who I think is next for Marco Tulio, give him a top 15 fight. Give him Kopylov or maybe even the winner of Michel Pereira, Abu Smagomed, in this next fight card with Carlos Prates, Ian Gary. I think the winner of that fight is going to be a decently ranked opponent. Not super high in the top 15, probably 13, 14-ish. And then that's a good matchup for him. He gets him, if he wins that, he's in the top 15 and he shows he belongs. If not, then he just gets to work his way back up the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, no, I really like that. I agree with that too. I think he should fight probably Kopylov, and then I would say Paulo Costa at the highest.
Paulo
going
Costa
up the
is a good
ranking.
option too, for sure. Absolutely.
But realistically, I think it'd probably be Kopylov or whoever wins Pereira and Magomed.
Mm-hmm. I really like the whoever wins between that gets Tulio, because I think both of those are interesting matchups for him. I would hope that Pereira is more the matchup for Tulio than Magomed specifically.
Well, I feel like stylistically it'd be a lot better of a match.
Yeah, exactly. And it's flashy, 2 flashy fighters that have a lot of good strikes and KO power.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be fireworks.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
that is a good pick. So what we have next, we're going to talk about Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. All right. So, yeah, Erosa just turned the gas on, honestly. It seemed like everything he threw was landing, and he put on a lot of damage really quick in that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys follow us on Instagram and TikTok, which if you don't, you should be, you saw our UFC 314 fight picks. I had Darren Elkins on this fight. 314 was a great night for me. I went 10-3 for my picks. But unfortunately, this was one of those fights where I was wrong. Darren the Damage Elkins looked extremely damaged in this fight. He looked like the CTE king coming out the gate.
It was ridiculous.
It was hard to watch as a Darren Elkins fan. But also at the same time, Julian Erosa came in and put on a show and did what he needed to do to get him out of there in the first round still.
Oh, yeah. Well, I feel like Erosa kind of showed up to tell everybody, like, he belongs here now because, Elkins was getting a little bit older. He was a little slower than he was, but Erosa still came out and just put him out quickly, which was still very impressive.
Yeah, for sure. All right, who do you have going next for Julian Erosa? Who do you think his next matchup should be?
So, hear me out. I think he should take Bryce Mitchell, coming off of that brutal loss to John Silva,
which we will talk about. Trust me,
we're gonna get there.
We will get there.
We will absolutely get there. But that's not for now. But he should match up with Mitchell, and if not, I think Qatar would be an absolute banger of a matchup.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought Bryce Mitchell or Qatar. I think both of those are good matchups. We'll talk about Bryce Mitchell when it comes to that time, but he's still a good opponent for Julian Erosa, especially stylistically. Oh, yeah. I feel like, and it gives us an opportunity to see Erosa really wrestle a little bit more, and see if he can stuff those takedowns and keep it on the feet, or if he wants to let it go down to the mat, how he can handle himself in the scramble with Bryce Mitchell.
Exactly, and I feel like it gives Bryce Mitchell another chance against somebody who's decently known for their striking, after what he did to Darren Elkins. Kind of gives him a chance to take down a striker.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. Alrighty, the next fight we have that we're breaking down or recapping was Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. And this was another fight that I got wrong. This was one of my 3 fights I predicted incorrectly.
He slept on Reyes.
I did. I slept on Reyes, and oh my goodness, was I wrong. I will look directly into the camera and say this. I was wrong. Dominic Reyes, I'm sorry. I should have never slept on you.
I just want to say, all night, he was like, Dom Reyes doesn't win. Dom Reyes doesn't. Boom! Knockout.
Spectacular knockout. Yeah. Running away, just right hook, right to the jaw.
Oh, he's back.
It was beautiful.
He's back.
He's not just back. He's better.
Oh, he's better.
He said, and have you seen that clip? I'm not back. I'm better. Okay, buddy. But no, he is. He's back, and he's better. Next up, matchup-wise for Dominic Reyes, I think Rakic or Ulberg is the best matchup for him in the future. I know you like Yuri Prohaska rematch for him.
Not maybe as his next fight, but I'd like to see.
Which I'm okay with it. If he wants to get knocked out by Yuri again, he is more than welcome to get knocked out by Yuri again.
Oh, but he's better.
He's better, but he's not gonna.
No.
Do I need to pull up the clip? Do we need to pull up the clip?
No, you don't need
to. Okay. But
I've seen it.
I think if you guys have not seen it, specifically go look up the Yuri Prohaska Dominic Reyes knockout. It is spectacular. It's an elbow that sends Dominic Reyes into the fucking shadow realm.
Oh, yeah.
But Dominic Reyes does look very good. I think he would give Yuri definitely more competition than he did last time. He knows what to expect a little bit more this time. I'd still pick Yuri over him, but that's just because I'm a huge Yuri guy. But yeah, I like Rakic or Ulberg if Yuri's not going to be an option.
Oh, yeah. I think personally, I would like to see him fight Olberg, but at the end of the day, I feel like the best matchup would be Rakic coming off of this win.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Rakic is definitely a good option.
But next up, we got Bryce Mitchell and John Lord Silva. All right. If you don't know who he is, you need to check him out. I'm sorry, you
If
need
you
to check
don't know,
all of them out.
you need to know.
Yeah, he fights for a group called the Fighting Nerds. Look up all of them.
They're all spectacular. I'm not usually a person who, where if they just train from a gym, they're automatically considered good. But the Fighting Nerds camp is, especially those four guys being Jean Silva, Carlos Prates, Caio Barajo, and
Mauricio Rufy.
Those four guys specifically in that Fighting Nerds camp are truly spectacular, and I think all four of them will eventually have gold around their waist. Maybe not all at the same time, but I think at least each one of them individually will all achieve gold at some point in their career.
Whew. That's a tall order.
But yeah, it was a night of killing Nazis for Gene Silva.
Yeah, got a little get back on Bryce Mitchell there.
Bryce Mitchell. I hate this storyline that or idea that Bryce Mitchell's grappling was never that good.
Oh.
Like, he was never a good wrestler. He just got fraud checked.
He has a twister submission.
Yeah, like this. No, absolutely not. Bryce Mitchell is a very, very high level grappler. But if anything, what this speaks to is something that I underestimated in Gene Silva, which is his submission and grappling capabilities. I just hadn't seen it yet, you know?
Yeah, nobody has.
Nobody had, but he came out and he beat Bryce Mitchell to a pulp on the feet, and then it
was hard to watch.
Threw him around like a rag doll on the mat. And that is something that's wildly impressive, especially to do against somebody with as high level wrestling as Bryce Mitchell has.
Yeah, exactly. And to do it in such a fashion that he did, I believe he could have easily knocked him out.
Absolutely.
I think he chose to submit him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Well, I think after he called out like to Rufy and was like, "Hey, Rufy, watch this."
He
I'm gonna try
getting
spinning back kick.
Yeah, a wheel kick.
Tried
to knock him out.
Didn't get that. I think then that's when he was like, "All right, then it's submission time." I think he wanted to do it, copy Rufy and his knockout of King Green, but that didn't quite happen. Even though it was probably pretty close. But
he would have knocked him out on the feet if you gave him 4 more minutes.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
He started to rock him, and as soon as he got him against the fence, he hit him with that ninja choke. It was beautiful.
Yes, and a ninja choke was put Bryce straight to sleep.
Oh yeah,
like straight to sleep.
No,
so
you don't get the tap. You're sleeping.
Yeah, and but yeah. So coming next for Jean Silva. Or Jean Silva, sorry. Excuse me. Jean Silva. I think give him Arnold Allen or Lerone Murphy. I think Lerone Murphy is something I've also heard about online already, kind of be talked about and thrown around. I think that's a really exciting fight. I think Silva walks through him.
Oh, yeah.
But nonetheless, it's an entertaining fight, and it sells. It's a good. It's a drawing fight, you know. It'll bring people in.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be his toughest matchup so far.
Yeah, and Arnold Allen, I really like just because of his rank, and the fact that he's up there.
What is he, number 6 right now?
6 or 7? 6? Yeah,
I think. Well,
pull it up real quick.
Well, because they still have Taporia on the rankings for featherweight, don't they?
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, he has to fight in his first lightweight match before his ranking changes. All right, what we got? Because if he gets to fight all the way up at number 6 too, that's a good jump for him.
Yeah. I think he's. Oh, there it is. Okay. Here we go. No, I don't want the pound for pound.
Just scroll down. Yeah, you click, genius.
Oh, there we go. Okay. got you. Featherweight. Where's featherweight? There it is. Alexander Volkanovski, my man.
Oh,
And we are
we
looking
come from a land down under.
for Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen is currently number 6, which
Okay, yeah, number 6.
does
That's what I thought.
include Max Holloway and Ilya Topuria still. So technically, if you're thinking about it, he's number 4.
So that's a
That's
top
a top
contender
5. That's a
fight.
top 5 contender spot fight for Jean Silva.
Oh. I'm just gonna throw this out here. What if he beats Arnold Allen and then they give him like Yair or Diego Lopez?
He takes the loser of Yair Lopez. Spoiler for what we're going to talk about.
Oh yeah, we'll
with
get to it.
Yair and Diego Lopez later, but he gets the loser of that fight. I like that. Okay,
And then I think they should give him a title shot if he continues, especially to win how he has been against top contenders.
yep. Absolutely.
I feel like he would deserve a title shot.
Yeah, I would agree. And then we have for Mitchell. I think Julian Erosa is also a very good matchup, like we've already talked about for him.
I do like him against Erosa.
And Jamal Emmers, who is not currently ranked and is on the come up a little bit.
And he is coming off of a very impressive, what was it, a first round knockout? Yeah,
Yeah,
first round knockout.
I believe so.
Yeah, that was
Pull him up again too.
what was that? That was the Brandon Moreno, Steve Erceg card. Yeah, UFC Mexico. Yeah, that was a good fight.
Jamal Emmers, yeah, round 1 KO against Gabriel Miranda. Yep. That's exactly what that was. And yeah, I think that's a good stepping stone. I think Bryce Mitchell probably loses that fight again, but if he can keep it on the feet, then or if he can get Jamal Emmers off of his feet and onto the mat,
There you go.
then Bryce Mitchell has a very good chance in that fight. And that's what makes that competitive fight, is because you have the striking masterclass versus the grappling masterclass. And we can see who comes out on top. I personally think Jamal Emmers, but if not, Bryce Mitchell continues his spot in the rankings, and then maybe he can try and climb his way back up and into the good graces of the UFC again.
God,
But if he loses, then he starts on his decline down, and we'll see where he falls from there.
Such a brutal fall, dude.
Yeah,
He got absolutely smoked by Josh Emmett.
absolutely. And just so we know, we're gonna make it very clear on this podcast, in our first episode specifically, we do not like Nazis. We hate Nazis. Making that very clear and out there.
Yeah, we're not pulling no Bryce Mitchell.
We do not associate.
We're not talking about who we're going fishing with. All
Yes.
right?
No, not us. Not here. Not on this podcast. All right. And then next up we have Yair versus Patricio Pitbull. Yair Rodriguez specifically.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, that was a great fight.
Yes, it was.
Watching it, I do feel like Pitbull maybe had made the transition to the UFC a little bit too late.
I would absolutely agree with that.
Don't get me wrong, Yair is a bigger featherweight, right?
Yep.
But the size difference was huge. It looked like.
Absolutely, dude.
Like, Pitbull's not small, but just the height.
He's
and
5'5". He's shorter than me.
Yeah.
And I'm also in the short king category. But
what a loser.
5'8" and proud. But yeah, 5'5". I mean, he's not the tallest guy by any means.
I know, but Yair and his kicks.
Yeah,
and
oh, yeah.
just the
Well, and
length,
Yair is
he kept distance
really
on him.
tall.
That's how he. Yeah, he's what, 6'?
5'11", actually. Nope.
Yeah, okay,
he's not
almost.
even that tall. He's not even
Yeah.
6 foot tall. Okay,
But still, to 5'5", that's
yeah,
6 inches. That's
he looked way longer than Patricio Pitbull.
yeah,
for
no,
sure.
he definitely. That's how he won. He kept him at distance. It was a great fight. He was a fantastic performance by Yair, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, and Patricio Pitbull is a fantastic fighter. He's 36-8. He's 13-2 for KOs, 11-1 for submissions. Like
Yeah,
he is a very high level fighter, and he was for a long time. I think he just stayed in Bellator too long and played around in those pools for too long, and now he's still very much UFC material, but he's not.
Well, I think they might
top
have
5 contender material in the UFC currently, maybe at this time.
I think he potentially could be.
Yeah, he could
But
be.
I think they might have thrown him
yeah,
into because they gave him Yair. Yair's not a scrub.
hmm
Like, that's a top contender, easily, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, who
And
do
they
you
just
think
Kind of
between
threw him.
like Pitbull and Evelev, Mobzar?
Ooh, Pitbull can grapple.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he can. I think that's an interesting fight. I
It is,
mean,
but
it's going to be a fight that the crowd is booing on because they don't
Oh,
like
yeah, they're
wrestling
just
on
making love
the
on the mat.
UFC live. But I think that's still an entertaining fight.
I can see it, but
So, yeah,
we all
and-
know Eloev's gonna fight Volk next for the
Yeah.
title. That's pretty cemented right now.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know where Pitbull is probably going to lay.
Oh, he did
Um,
call out Dan Ige, and Dan Ige
That's right. That's
accepted. Nothing's signed. Nothing's confirmed. It's just
that is correct.
it sounds like Dan Ige and Pitbull want to run it, which that would be a good fight. I would like to see that.
Because it's not one that we're breaking down.
No.
But Dan Ige also had a spectacular win over Sean Woodson in round 3 by TKO. It was a really entertaining fight to watch.
It was a questionable stoppage too.
It was.
I
It was
think
slightly-
Dan Ige 100% still won that fight, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely.
The stoppage was just a little iffy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. I would agree. I think it was definitely a little bit early.
Like,
But
if you gave him 10 more seconds, he might have finished it, but
Yeah,
it was a little
exactly.
early.
I don't know
think.
if it was the same. Yeah, and either way, he probably would have won the decision on that one.
Oh, he
anyway,
100% would have won.
Yeah. Anyway,
he had that fight.
So, all right. Next fight for
All right.
Yair Rodriguez.
Let's see what I got.
Who do we think? I know who I think.
Let me hear it.
Diego motherfucking Lopez. This fight
Oh, yeah.
sells itself. They already had beef during the press conference. They are the technically number 2 and number 3 contenders for the belt right now,
Yeah.
but both of them have a loss to the current champion. So have them run it.
Well,
and then-
Eloev fights Volk.
Yep, exactly.
I
And
got
then
you.
whoever wins between that fight gets a rematch against Volk, and Volk can fight either Yair or Diego Lopez. But that's a great fight. You have UFC, what is it, 316 in Guadalajara? Or 317?
Ooh, damn. I don't know. 316? Because 315 is Bilal and Jack Della Maddalena. That's in Canada. And then isn't
UFC 20.
yeah, that's UFC Noche, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I didn't think it was for a while. Because 16 is that International Fight Week? Or is that 17?
No, that's 16 is Marab Sugar Sean.
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot about that.
317 is International Fight Week,
Yeah,
and we don't have
317.
a main, and we don't have any cards for International
Dude,
Fight
I
Week.
want them to
Yeah,
announce
dude.
it.
It's
UFC,
got to be coming
please.
soon. UFC, Dana.
I need that shit.
Dana,
And I
we
need,
are begging you.
Yes.
Please.
And we need, we don't. I need to know who Dustin Poirier is fighting in Louisiana soon.
It's going to be Max Holloway, dude.
I know. I've been waiting. I just need the announcement. That's all I need.
Yeah, Max Holloway, right?
Yeah,
That's-
for the BMF though.
Yes,
That's
yes.
what everybody thinks.
BMF
He's,
belt.
who,
Yes,
that's-
okay.
Yeah, that's what everybody
That's
thinks.
exactly. I was.
I'm just
getting
waiting for the
Gaethje
announcement.
And,
Yeah.
Gaethje and Hooker and Poirier and
Watch him give him to Poirier.
And Chandler. Next up for Chandler is the fight between Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett fucking killed it.
Oh, he looked remarkable.
He looked championship level.
Oh, he did. He
Like,
did. It's probably because he didn't get all fat in between his fucking fight camps.
maybe not against Islam championship
Oh,
level, but that very high upper tier.
100% top contender.
Yeah, absolutely.
He proved that he belongs at the top. I
think
he
him
stays.
versus Oliveira would be interesting too.
I
Like, I
really
think-
liked that call out. I like that he called out Topuria too,
Yep.
because I know Topuria's been saying that he'll only fight for the title,
Mhm.
but I feel like that would be a good way for him to get a title shot, because it doesn't seem like Oliveira wants to fight him. Gaethje just wants to make a run at the title.
Yeah.
Paddy Pimblett's like, I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
He's got all that hype around him. I feel like that'd be a good fight.
I think it would be too.
I don't think it's gonna happen, but
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
would be a fun fight to see.
I also like Armin Sarukian for Patty. I think that's a good
The
matchup.
posh boy,
The
absolute
posh
helmet,
boy.
you fucking mushroom.
He's a Spanish mushroom with chorizo.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I like Armin Sarukian for him a lot. Armin Sarukian's got to get back in the good graces with a win for the UFC to give him a championship shot again.
Oh, I was so excited to see him fight Islam.
Hurt his back. He hurt his little back.
Well, it was probably to
His
impress
posh
Nina,
boy
dude.
back.
Did you see that video with him and Nina?
Yeah,
And he's going all
and
crazy. That's probably where he hurt that motherfucker.
he's stretching and stretching, is bending his neck in ways that no neck should ever bend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and then
that one upset me. I was ready to see that fight.
yeah, I was too for sure. And then we have next, or who do we think next for Michael Chandler?
Oh, so that was questionable for me.
I don't like this narrative that Michael Chandler was never any good, that he didn't know what he was doing, and that he just got fraud checked. Because I don't think that's true. I think Michael Chandler was at one point a very high level fighter. And I think when he got into the UFC, he's probably had remnants of that high level fighter left. And then since then, he's just traded that skill and his drive for the entertaining fights, those brawls and those bloody mashups that everybody loves to watch and sells the hell out of pay-per-views. That's what I think Michael Chandler became. But he's still a good fighter, by all expressions of the word, I don't think he ever fully falls out of the top 15, especially before he retires. I think he will retire before he actually falls out of the top 15 in the UFC.
Yeah.
But I think Money Moicano
I
and
like that.
Grant Dawson are the two.
Dude, I would love to see Moicano fight Chandler.
Yes, absolutely.
Easy money, brother.
that
Easy money.
that is my number one pick. I think that
like
would
that.
be really entertaining. It gives people a shot to see what Chandler's skill level really is at this point, because if he can't beat Money Moicano, I'm wrong, and I will eat crow, and I will come on camera admit that I am wrong. But
Easy money, brother.
I think Chandler still has enough to probably win that one, even against Money Moicano.
You forget Money Moicano's pretty damn good though.
Yeah,
He just got embarrassed by Islam last time. Don't get me wrong. He's nowhere
that is
near
the
that.
freshest in my mind.
That's
for
what I'm saying.
Money
But
Moicano.
before that, he's kind of a dog.
Yeah,
I know he can stand in there.
yeah, that's true for sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so I like that matchup.
Alrighty,
Give him some easy money instead of some really fucking hard money.
really, really hard money.
Yeah, the hardest.
The
money you
hardest
could've
of
got.
monies to
Yeah.
get.
Oh, that was.
It was a little tough.
I felt bad
For
for
sure.
him, dude. He walked in there and Islam just.
Yeah,
that was
it was
it. That
was
was it.
hard to watch for sure.
Yeah.
But he stepped up when no one else would,
Yeah,
so
no,
you got to give him
gangster.
credit there.
Yeah. It was great.
All right, let's recap the main event from UFC 314. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez.
Hell yeah. Banger. I loved this fight. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It was really weird seeing Diego Lopez just. That was weird. I don't know if it's a tick or something, but
It's got to be. I think it's got to be.
as soon as I noticed it, I was like,
yeah,
I can't unsee it
I
because you're
can't
doing
unsee
it every
this.
3 seconds. Like,
yeah.
but
No, for sure. I think
no, he took a lot of shots.
Yeah.
Volk beat the shit out of him. He did not go down.
well, and he dealt it right back too. He
oh yeah, he
like-
knocked him down. What, twice?
twice, I think.
Yeah.
And, excuse me. Volk was also he had both black eye both eyes were bloody
Oh
and
yeah,
black.
no, he
He couldn't see out of his left eye is what he
That's
said
what he
after
said.
the fight.
Yeah, he said he completely lost vision in
Yeah,
his
like,
left eye.
Diego Lopez put on a show, and like he put so much heart into it, that fight, and he refused to go down no matter how hard Volk was
Oh
hitting
yeah,
him and how many shots Volk was putting on him.
He fucking stood there and traded with Volk for 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Gangster.
Absolute gangster.
You got to put some credit on that man's name. That's
Absolutely.
Diego Lopez.
But that being said, holy shit, Volk is back, baby, and I could not be more excited. Alexander Volkanovski has always been one of my favorite fighters.
Featherweight GOAT? Question mark?
Dude, before the fight, I was saying, before the fight even started, the whole time, I was saying Volk is the GOAT of featherweight. And we were having a conversation about it, and you were saying, I'm not giving it to him yet. I'm not giving it to him yet. If he wins tonight, then I'll give it to him.
Yeah,
I was already giving it to him because that's how I feel about Volk. But he cemented it for even the doubters, like you a little bit, who even picked Lopez on his fight.
I like Lopez.
Yeah, and it was a good pick. It was a valid pick for sure. But Alexander Volkanovski showed that just because he took some time off, just because he got beat by 2 other championship, very high level fighters, he still is Alexander Volkanovski, man. Yeah. In the featherweight division, he owns that division as long as Ilia Topuria is not in that division.
As long as Ilia is not there.
As long as Ilia is not there. And Volkanovski.
And we'll see if he ever fights John Silva.
Yep, exactly. But I like Volk. I think he defends 2 or 3 more times and then retires and goes and continues his cooking show and making all of our mouths water while we watch him.
Oh, yeah, dude. I need to
put some shrimp on the bobby.
If
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know how much I got to pay that man to cook me dinner, but I need it once.
Dinner and a show.
Bro, he can fucking throw
We'll
down.
put a ring in the backyard, and we'll have him cook and then put on a show for us.
Yeah, he can throw down.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I watched a couple of them. It looks good.
In the ring and the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Alrighty, let's move on to next week's breakdown. Ooh. We have the UFC Kansas City Fight Night with Ian Machado Gary versus Carlos Prates.
Oh, yeah.
The Fighting Nerd is the main event, but we are going to start all the way down at the prelims. Fine. We're going to break down every fight. We're going to introduce every fight with an unbiased intro where we just give you some statistics and some facts about those fighters. Then we're going to get into our personal opinions. We're both going to share our opinions of the fighters and our picks. It'll kind of be a turn-by-turn basis where I'll talk for a little bit, you'll talk for a little bit, and then we'll kind of have a conversation and a little bit of a dialogue, but then we'll try and keep it moving as quick as possible for you guys. Also, we will have our finalized picks posted on TikTok probably Saturday morning before the fights, if not Friday night before the fights. We will have those picks posted. Just so you guys know, we are degenerate gamblers. We do gamble pretty much every night the UFC is on. And we will share those picks with you if they hit. We'll share our picks with you regardless, win or lose, and we'll come on here and we'll eat crow or we'll brag a little bit. I'm
going to stay bragging.
Ethan had a really, really rough night for 314.
Oh yeah, I don't want to talk about
that. I'm gonna want to really talk about that because
no, you don't.
It was truly fantastic. One of my best nights that I've had in a little while was 10-3. Let's see how I can do for UFC Kansas City.
Hey, this is my redemption card, all right? I took Gene Silva by submission. I want y'all to remember that.
All right, first up. He did have that. And that is posted on TikTok and Instagram. Go check us out. Go like, follow, subscribe, share it with your friends. Let them know what you think. And let us know what you think in the comment section below. Let us know if you agree with us or if you totally disagree with us. Alrighty, first up we have Chelsea Chandler taking on Jocelyn Edwards at the bantamweight in the female division. Chelsea Chandler is the number 14 ranked contender in the women's bantamweight division. She is 2-2 in the UFC so far and is coming off a loss to Yana Santos in August of last year. She averages about 3.5 strikes per minute and has a 60% takedown success rate, but only a 33 takedown defense rate. Chandler is going to be taking on Jocelyn Edwards, the number 15 ranked contender. She is 5-4 in the UFC and coming off a submission win against Tamaris Vidal in October. She averages 4.5 strikes per minute and has a takedown success rate of 39% and has a takedown defense rate of 61%. I think that Chelsea Chandler is a very entertaining fighter. She is like the female version of Nate Diaz. She's from Stockton as well. She fights with her hands down. She's tough. She's gritty. She's durable. She's good on her feet. But she takes a lot of damage. She gets hit a lot. And she struggles defending her takedowns. But she's extremely tough. And it does have some submission potential. She has a few... Yeah. She had an arm bar win over Mackenzie Hunter, or was that Mackenzie Hunter? Something. I think it was Mackenzie Hunter.
Maybe. I don't know.
What was it? Who was it? I'm fact checking myself right now. It was. Oh, maybe not. I'm wrong. She had a rear naked choke against Olivia Parker. Maybe that's what I was thinking about. Okay. But yeah, she does have some submission potential.
That wasn't in the UFC though.
No, it was not. Okay. That was in Invicta FC Fight Club.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, she's good. She's tough. She struggles on the mat and she gets hit a lot. She is a little chinny, but she has not been knocked out yet in her career. And then Jocelyn Edwards is a volume striker. She's got really good counters.
She's very, very active.
Yeah, absolutely. She works on her feet. She's got good cardio. She can be wobbled, but she's also very, very tough. She has good defense on the mat, and she's really calm in the scramble. She's good. She usually comes out on top in a scramble. My prediction for this fight is Jocelyn Edwards winning this by decision. I think that Chelsea Chandler is strong enough to stay alive and not get submitted or knocked out. But I think Jocelyn Edwards is going to have a pretty dominant night and will probably run it. But that's also assuming that Jocelyn Edwards is able to make weight, which she historically has a problem with doing.
Yeah, and historically says she's not going to do it again, and
continues to do it again.
Continues to miss weight, like, frequently. Insane, but I mean, I feel pretty much the same way. Like, honestly, all the points you said, I really do like. She's very active. Edwards is. Chandler fights with her hands down a lot, so sometimes she'll just get clipped. That's all it is. And with an active striker, I can see her just absorbing a lot of damage pretty quick throughout the fight.
Absolutely. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So overall, I like Edwards by decision.
Yeah, I think that's a solid pick. I think that's even a pick that's potentially parlayable. I think that's a pretty early pick. Like start your night off right with a win in your parlays and a hit.
Absolutely.
And I don't think Chelsea Chandler has much of a chance in that fight.
No, and if anything, I would do like a prop bet or just something by itself for Edwards to win by submission.
By submission?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it could be live.
It could be. It definitely could be live for sure.
I like my long shots.
Yes,
so,
you do.
You know, I gotta throw them out there sometimes.
Ethan or Slim here is known for taking those shots in the dark. Sometimes, most of the time, he misses, but
no, most of the time I hit.
Sometimes, like the Gene Silva submission, he was preaching that all night long that Gene Silva was going to submit him. I didn't think it was going to happen. I was wrong. He was right. He called it. The bet hit. It was a good little payout for us. And yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah,
all the way around.
I also had Reyes by knockout in round 1, so just throwing that one out there because you wanted to talk about it.
You did. You had Reyes knockout round 1 too.
Oh, and Patty Pimblett knockout round 3.
Yes, you did. Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Damn. Yeah, you guys should listen to me. That's all I'm saying.
All right, let's get into this next fight.
All right, so we got Timmy Kuamba and Roberto Romero. There's a featherweight matchup. Is that how you say it? Kuamba?
I think so. Timmy Kwamba.
Yeah, Kuamba is he has 2 fights in his UFC career. He fought first in the lightweight division where he lost by a split decision and he moved down to featherweight. And then he lost to Lucas Almeida by unanimous decision. He's a pretty good striker, averaging about 3 significant strikes per minute, landing at 42%. Averages 1 takedown per fight with 27% accuracy. So, I mean, some of his takedowns can be pretty sloppy. I mean, he will test his durability against another UFC newcomer, Roberto Romero. Romero's debut in the UFC was at UFC 309. He fought David Onama on short notice. Was it a week?
I think it was just shy of a week.
Yeah, so, I mean, very, very short notice.
Yep.
And,
brand new to the UFC, was not a contender series guy or anything like that. I believe, yeah, he was a Combate global fighter.
Yeah, he saw his shot to get here, and he just took it. That's
the
all
UFC
it was.
called him, and he picked up the phone, and he put on a good show that night.
He lost by decision, and if he put on a pretty good performance that showed that he still belongs, even though it was
a loss. It was a loss, but David Onama is also very high level.
And he put up I think, a fantastic fight for a week notice against David Onama.
Mm-hmm.
Great fight. In that fight, he averaged about just under 5 significant strikes per minute and landing at almost 50%. He also showed his durability because he got hit 145 times by David Onama. And David Onama hits pretty hard from what we've seen. So,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, he proved himself to me that he should at least get this next fight, which I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it plays
with a full camp this time.
Yeah, with a full camp too. So, I'm excited to see what he can bring.
Me too.
My personal notes I have on it. I think Kuamba's a good striker, fantastic chin. Well, maybe not fantastic, but pretty good. His chin's pretty good. His defense is a little bit questionable sometimes. Like, I've noticed he'll drop his hands.
Mm-hmm.
But he's very active and likes to push the pace. So I'm taking Timmy Kuamba by either a late finish, but most likely a decision.
Okay. Yeah, so I actually have the opposite pick from you.
I know.
I have Roberto Romero winning this by decision or a late KO. Both of these guys are high volume strikers. They both hit very hard. And they're both very durable guys too. Roberto Romero showed that against why am I blanking on his name? David Onama.
There you go.
And he took a lot of damage, like we just said. It was 145 strikes from him. Took every single one of them. I think he got dropped once, but he popped right back up.
Yeah, he definitely got wobbled.
He showed good striking. I'm curious to see how he looks on his feet or on the mat, and how his takedowns look, and see if any of his wrestling happens, because Timmy Kwamba does have decent takedowns.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got about 27% accuracy in his takedowns, so I'm not too worried about that side. I think this is going to be a war. I think they're going to be very bloodied up by the end of this fight. Both of them are. But I think Roberto Romero is going to come out and show that he is pretty high level, even for the UFC in a second fight.
Oh, yeah, and I like the pick, too. It definitely is going to be a close fight. I think if it goes to a decision, I think both of them have the ability to get a finish, but I don't necessarily see it happening. So, like you said, I feel like it's going to be a lot of stand and bang.
Yep, absolutely.
A lot of stand and bang.
Yep, for sure. Alrighty, next up we have Jacqueline Arim versus Polyana Viviana. Jacqueline Arim is 3-1 in the UFC, with her last fight being a win via submission. She averages 3 strikes per minute, hitting on 52%. Her defense is very solid, only absorbing 1.72 strikes per minute. She averages 2 takedowns per 15 minutes and 28% takedown accuracy with that. She has a 5.33 submission average in the UFC. Polyana Viviana is 4-6 in the UFC and is coming off of a knockout loss in her last fight. She averages 2.99 strikes per minute, hitting 40%. Her defense is a little less solid, absorbing 2.65 strikes per minute. She averages just shy of 1 takedown per 15-minute fight, but she also has a 33% takedown accuracy, and she has a 0.82 submission average. I think Amarim is a very strong grappler. She's creative with her takedowns, and she's always hunting for a submission. That 5.33 submission attempts per fight is kind of wild.
Oh, it's absolutely wild, but she's just constant. He's not kidding. You can watch the film.
Yeah, she's
She's
kind of like
constantly
Spider-Man on the mat. where
Yeah,
she'll-
she's just constantly grabbing the neck or an arm, or she's trying to grab your
she'll
leg.
crawl
or-
around her opponent and
Yeah.
just use them how she feels like she needs to use them. She's more comfortable on the mat than she is on the feet, but she's got good feet. She's good on her feet as well. Polyana Viviana keeps forward pressure on the feet. She's got good power, and she's got decent jiu-jitsu as well. Jacqueline Armim is a jiu-jitsu black belt world champion, and multiple-time world champion, I believe. And Polyana Viviana is also a jiu-jitsu world champion, but I don't know if she is a black belt off the top of my head. So she's also good on the mat, and has submission potential as well. She's just not as active, and she doesn't go to the mat as frequently. My pick for this fight is the fight does not go the distance. I think one of these girls gets a finish on the other, whether it's a knockout from Jacqueline, Polyana, and or a submission from Armim. I think both of those are very live. I think this does not go to a decision, which is kind of unnatural for a women's MMA fight, but I like it. It's entertaining. I'm really excited to watch this fight. I don't think that this is a women's fight that you can take a bathroom break or a snack break during. I think this is one that everyone should watch because I think it's going to be very entertaining, to say the least. What do you got?
Yes.
That it?
No, yeah, no. Okay, so I got. It's pretty much the same thing. I feel like if this fight goes to the mat, I think it's pretty obvious Amarim would win on the ground.
Absolutely.
So if it goes to the ground and stays on the ground, she's absolutely live for a submission.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
so I'm taking her by submission or decision.
Mm-hmm.
However, if Polyana can stuff her takedowns and keep the fight on the feet, I'm taking her by decision because I feel like she has the edge striking.
Okay. You don't think she knocks out Jacqueline?
With how good of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that Jacqueline has, she's gonna take it to the ground at least once. You know, it's going to the mat at least once.
I would agree. I think
so. I don't feel like she's gonna be able to just stand up and get beat on. She's gonna level change.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I see it going to. It's either gonna be submission or decision.
Yeah, I would agree. Or I think it's submission or knockout personally. But I could see the argument for a decision for sure. I just think that if you want to bet on this guy, I personally am going to take the fight does not go a distance. I think I'm going to take Jacqueline Armim with at least 2 takedowns and Polyana Viviana with at least 60 plus strikes. I think that's a pretty safe bet all the way around.
If you did under 2.5 rounds too,
Yep.
that'd be a nice one to throw in.
Yep, absolutely. I think if we're going to see a finish, it happens under 2.5.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't happen towards the end of the third round.
If I were to pick, because I like to pick method and round of victory for a lot of these. I do, and I'm pretty decent at it.
You are
for the most part. I would take Viana's second round submission.
And And I'm much more of an in general guy where I like to pick the double chance victories, where I take the decision or knockout,
And
decision
the
or
alternate
submission,
double
or submission
chances, too.
knockout. Yep, exactly. I like to take those kind of fights, and those are usually what I'm pretty good at. So we're kind of on the same thought process, except for the knockout part, but we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. All right. So on this next fight, this is the one I think I am most excited for on the prelims. Maybe. There's a couple good ones, but I'm excited to see this one. It's Malcolm Wellmaker versus Cameron Simon. It's a bantamweight matchup. Wellmaker is making his UFC debut. He's coming off of a knockout win over Adam, what is that, Bromhold? Oh, yeah, Bromhold in Dana White's Contender Series. He's so active on the feet. He averages, I think it's a little bit over 8 significant strikes landed per minute. He puts on damage quick. He's very explosive, and he likes to put a lot of pressure on his opponents. He's going to be taking on Cameron Simon. Simon is 3-2 in the UFC and is coming off of a 2-fight losing streak. Most recently, he lost by knockout in his fight against Peyton Talbot. I know we saw Peyton Talbot recently lose, but Peyton Talbot he's still a really good fighter, I think. I still think he has a lot to prove, but that was a tough matchup for him that he, got the loss, but
For sure.
yeah. It's a good matchup now, I think. He's really active on his feet, too. He averages a little over 5 significant strikes per minute with a 46% accuracy. He averages 1 takedown per 15 minutes, so about 1 per fight, with 28% accuracy and 47% takedown defense. So I feel like this is going to stay on the feet, most likely, but if it does go to the ground, absolutely Cameron Simon's live for a submission, easily. And Cameron Simon, I don't know if you knew this, South African K1 kickboxer.
Yep. He is a very high-level kickboxer. That's what I have in my notes.
Du Plessis.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
He's like a skinnier, smaller DDP.
Yeah. He doesn't fight
and he doesn't fight like DDP, though, as wild as DDP
does. Unorthodox.
Yep, exactly.
He's got a more orthodox
He's
approach.
very composed.
Yeah.
And I think Cameron Simon is a very, very good striker. But a lot of people like to talk about his grappling because he's very high level in that, too. He's very, very calm in the scramble. He doesn't panic at all. He stays calm. If you get a submission attempt on him, he's just going to work his way out of it. He doesn't panic. He stays calm. He is a very high-level wrestler. But the thing that I think most people overlook on him is his K1 kickboxing.
Mm-hmm.
I think
he has
he
really
mixes it up
kicks.
really well with his kicks and his strikes. But he's more of a defensive striker rather than an offensive striker.
Yeah, no,
which could be a
that.
problem against Wellmaker because Wellmaker is a great striker with knockout power, but he struggles on the mat a little bit. So I agree with you. Cameron Simon is going to have a huge advantage on the mat against especially a guy like Malcolm Wellmaker.
And from the film that I've watched on Cameron Simon, there was one fight where he gassed out decently quick. But the rest of him, his gas tank looked fantastic through 15 minutes.
I don't know which fight that was because I saw that in your notes, but I didn't see that personally when I was watching film. I thought he had a great gas tank. I thought his cardio looked good.
Yeah. There's just one of them, and it's not like he was fighting bad when he was tired, but you could kind of tell he slowed
was
down.
Pretty high.
It was insanely active, and he still held up. So
yeah, and I think that
from what I've seen from Wellmaker, I believe Simon can submit him in either the first or the second.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Simon wins this by finish.
Yeah.
I think a KO is possible, especially if they're just exchanging blows in the pocket. He can clip Malcolm Wellmaker. Malcolm Wellmaker is 8-0, but he could catch his first loss. I think he does regardless.
Yeah.
Because I think that Malcolm Wellmaker is going to be truly outclassed on the mat.
I just think he's going to be just drug into deep waters.
Yep, exactly.
And I feel like he's going to last about a round before he really just gets tired.
Gets tired and gasses out.
And
Yep.
at that point, Cameron Simon's just gonna attack and attack and attack.
Yep. I think a second or third round submission is probably very live. I think Cameron Wellmaker probably makes it out of the first round. Maybe even wins the first round because it's probably going to be striking dominant. Maybe he drops Cameron Simon once in the first round. And if he can do that and keep him out and keep the pressure on him, then I think he has a good chance of winning this fight.
My only thing with it staying on the feet, though, too, is I don't think Malcolm Wellmaker is going to be able to deal with the distance that Cameron Simon can create with his kicks.
That's true. Yeah. And
so I did, in my notes,
well, Malcolm
I do have
Wellmaker is
him by
going to
finish.
be larger.
No, he
than
is.
Cameron Simon.
Yeah,
he's
it's a
got
pretty big difference, I think.
4-inch reach advantage, so 2 inches on each arm and leg. And he's 2 inches taller.
Yeah.
than Cameron Simon.
I didn't have that though. They're both you got a switch stance and a southpaw fighter.
Yep.
Okay. So
With
that'll
Malcolm being the switch stance and Cameron Simon being the southpaw.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they both came out in southpaw
Yep.
because southpaws have such a hard time finding open pockets against other southpaws.
I would agree.
And I feel like that would probably be Wellmaker's best ticket to his success is that.
I think if you're going to bet on
straight
Wellmaker,
left-handed.
I think Wellmaker round 1, maybe round 2, KO is the only option for him. I don't think he wins a decision against Cameron Simon, and I
No, 'cause
don't
he's
think
gonna
he
get-
submits
he's gonna
Cameron
get
Simon.
wrestled. No.
But I think Cameron Simon is a good enough striker to keep him at distance, even though he's smaller. He's going to use his kicks well. He's going to use his counter striking well. I think he's going to stay alive and then get it to the mat. And
I
submit
feel
him.
like if Simon does knock out, because I think that's totally live.
absolutely.
And if he does, he's going to draw him in, and then I could see it being a leg kick.
Absolutely.
It's just flashing in my head right now. I feel like it's
TKO by
coming.
leg kick or doctor stoppage, broken leg.
No, head kick.
Oh, head kick.
Yeah.
I got you.
Drawing him in and just
Yeah,
wham,
whipping
you know?
that thing because he's
Yeah.
wildly fast with those kicks too.
Yeah,
he just
no,
whips
he
them
is.
up there.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like he could catch him with one of those pretty clean.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, next up we have Damon Blackshear versus Alatin Gelhi. And I hope I said that somewhat correctly. I'm sure I butchered it at least a little bit, but
You did.
this is a bantamweight fight. I'm just gonna call him Haley for the rest of the time, so that way I don't have to keep butchering his name, because he is the fighter that I respect. Damon Blackshear is 4-1-3 in the UFC so far. He is a very quick turnaround after beating Cody Gibson in submission of March, and by submission in March of this year. Literally just a couple weeks ago, he was fighting Cody Gibson in the octagon. He submitted him.
He looked great.
He did.
He looked fantastic.
He looked fantastic.
His grappling was very, very nice.
Yep. And he has that very quick turnaround, though, to take on Haley. Damon Blackshear is very active on the feet, averaging 3.9 significant strikes landed per minute with 46% accuracy. He ultimately uses his strikes to set up his takedowns, though, averaging 1.8 per fight, with 36% accuracy and 70% takedown defense. He's extremely active on the mat and averages 1.89 submission attempts per fight. Alton Haley, or Haley, is 5-1-2 in the UFC and is coming off of a decision win over Cledson Rodriguez. Haley is a little less active on his feet, averaging 2.64 strikes per minute with 32% accuracy. However, he is just as dangerous as Blackshear when it comes to the ground game. He averages 1.99 strike or takedowns per fight with 45% accuracy and has a takedown defense of 75%. However, Haley does not currently have any submissions in the UFC. I think this is a really entertaining matchup. I think it's a little bit slept on for sure. I like Damon Blackshear. I know you do for sure.
If you guys aren't a casual and you actually enjoy grappling in MMA,
Damon Blackshear is up there in your
and-
ratings
and
for
this
sure.
matchup is going to be a good matchup on the ground.
Absolutely. Blackshear is dangerous on the mat. He's always looking for submission. And his defense against submissions is fantastic. Also, I think he might have a small cardio issue, especially after a high-paced fight in the later rounds. And he's got good striking, but he has been chinned before. Haley is a good striker, uses his strikes to set up takedowns really well, too. He's very durable. But he only really uses those takedowns to set up his grounded pound. He's really a grounded pound guy. He likes to get on top of you and just wail elbows and fists, hammer fists, and everything else he can get in there. I think this is going to be a really competitive fight. I think Haley is live for a KO because Damon Blackshear is a little bit chinny. But ultimately, I think this is going to be Blackshear's fight. He has a huge size advantage over Haley. He's 5 inches taller and got a 6-inch advantage, so 3 inches on each arm and leg. He's way bigger. I think he's gonna overpower and outclass Haley just a little bit, especially on the mat. And Blackshear's also fought some higher level competition, in my opinion, than Haley has.
Oh, absolutely.
So Haley will be in for a good high level opponent here, and if he can get it done, I think it's on the feet. But ultimately, I got Damon. What do you got?
I still think that this matchup is going to the mat.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be very wrestle heavy. I don't think. I do think Damon Blackshear can get a submission. He's always live. I don't think Aten Heli.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do not think that he can submit Blackshear from what I've seen.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be a ground and pound knockout, probably.
Maybe. I don't even see that happening because I don't think he'd be able to get control on Blackshear like that.
No, definitely. It's a challenge for him.
Yeah, so I can see it. I have Blackshear by decision,
mm-hmm.
or I have him by a very late submission.
Okay, like end of round 3. So you're going to take the over for sure on that one too.
I wouldn't bet an over and under on this.
Mm-hmm.
Just round 3 submission.
Just round 3 submission.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I feel like he's got to break Aten Kelly down.
Yeah.
Like really kill his cardio,
Mm-hmm.
and if he still has it, that's when he's going to be able to submit him.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Damon by decision is very, very accurate. I think that's the most likely outcome.
Yeah, but I think
Damon
it's going
submission
to decision. I think it's going to
in round
decision.
3. I think that's very live. But I also think Alton Haley knock TKO round 2 is also extremely live, in my opinion.
No, not on Blackshear. Blackshear's taking it unanimous decision.
All right, well, we will see.
Hey, don't be mad when all these are right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fucking clip finding them how long ago.
Let's clip everybody. Anyone watching right now, clip that. And when his card is like 0-13 for the night, we'll play this clip.
I'll get
I'm
one.
Not wrong.
I'll get one.
I'll get 1-12.
Hey, a win's a win.
And it'll be Damon Blackshear.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he ain't going down. Right?
No, I would agree with you overall, though, for sure.
All right, what do we got next? Who is
Chris Gutierrez versus John Castaneda?
Ooh, another featherweight matchup. It's a rebooked match from UFC 313. Chris Gutierrez and John Castaneda. Chris Gutierrez is 9-1-2 in the UFC and is coming off of a decision win over Quang Le. Right? Quang Le?
Quang Le.
Oh, yeah, Quang Le. Okay. Gutierrez is a skilled kickboxer. He averages just under about, I think it's 5 significant strikes per minute. And he lands them at a 60% rate, which is pretty damn accurate. Gutierrez is 9-0 for knockouts in his career. He's not very active on the mat at all. He only averages about a quarter of a takedown per fight. So, probably not, if I had to guess. And he has a 30% takedown accuracy. He stays calm in the scramble, and he does have some submission potential. But he will be taking on John Castaneda. Castaneda is 4-3 in the UFC. He's coming off of decision loss to Daniel Marcos. Castaneda is a mixed martial artist. He averages 4.5 significant strikes per minute with 54% accuracy. He's more active in the ground game. He's averaging 1.7 takedowns per fight with a 35% takedown accuracy. Castaneda is 6-0 in his career for submissions and 8-2 by knockout. So I kind of had problems trying to think about this fight.
I did too.
It was a rough one. I like the way that Castaneda fights, but he seems to just be so chinny. I watched the fight against Silva. He had this dude stumbling. He pretty much had it won, and he waited too long and ended up getting knocked out himself later on. So if he can stay active this whole match and keep the pressure on the entire match and not let off of the gas pedal, I think Castaneda can take it by knockout or decision.
Mm-hmm.
But from what he's shown me, I don't feel like he's going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have his moments, and I think Chris Gutierrez can probably catch him,
It's fair. Yeah.
Because Chris Gutierrez really likes to use calf kicks.
Mm-hmm.
He tears your calves up. And for how active Castaneda is going to have to be to win this fight.
Red and purple calves are a common threat.
Yeah, baseball.
Chris Gutierrez's opponents.
It's terrifying. Sure. Yeah. But, Gutierrez is going to tear his legs up, I think, and Castaneda's not going to have the same movement that he's going to need to win. So I'm taking Gutierrez by a decision or knockout.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very valid pick. I think Gutierrez is going to use his kickboxing. I think that's going to be a real threat, especially to a guy like Castaneda, who is a bit chinny.
Oh, hold on. But Castaneda also has a good ground game.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
I will give him that.
Yes, he does.
He is a former D2 wrestler for Minnesota State University, I believe. So from what I've seen, I haven't seen him break out like a lot of jiu-jitsu or sambo or any type of ground game, but his wrestling is pretty solid.
Yeah,
he likes to shoot double and single legs quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think it's a really close matchup. I think Gutierrez's path is going to be by KO, path to victory. But that being said, I think Castaneda wins this one. I think if Gutierrez can't knock out Castaneda, Castaneda is going to set the pace for this fight. He's going to shoot a lot of takedowns. Eventually, one of them is going to stick. And then he's going to work the ground game, and he's either going to ground and pound him or submit him. But I also see that Chris Gutierrez being able to survive that. So my pick is going to be Castaneda by decision or submission. I'm going to take that double chance on this one. I feel fairly confident in this one, but I do think Chris Gutierrez is a very good opponent and is a very lethal threat on the feet, especially to Castaneda. But that being said, let's move on to our next fight. That's going to be Evan Elder versus Ahmad Hassanada. Hassanzada, maybe. We'll figure it out. We'll check it. We'll look it up after. But he is taking on Dan Elder. Elder is 2-2 in the UFC and is coming into the fight on a 2-fight win streak, most recently beating Darius Flowers by submission. He's very quick on his feet, averaging 5 significant strikes per minute with 52.48% accuracy. He's a decent ground game, averaging 0.63 takedowns with 20% accuracy, and has some submission potential. Ahmad Hassanzada is making his UFC debut after his submission win on Dana White's Contender Series. Wow, words are not working that great for me today, which is funny because it's our first podcast episode.
It's just the nerves. It's your first time.
Yeah, for sure. In that fight, he landed 76 out of 140 strikes with 47 significant strikes, and 2 of his 12 takedown attempts were successful. He also had over 6 minutes of control time in that fight. I think Elder's a good striker. He's got good takedowns, good submission defense, and he's a well-rounded fighter. Ahmad is good. He's young. He's a good striker, but he's got poor defense too. He gets hit a lot. And defense, he's got good defense in the scramble and good takedowns. I think ultimately, though, this is going to be either an elder decision or a KO submission from Ahmed in this fight. I think Ahmed submission is the least likely because Elder does have good submission defense. And Elder is going to be the stronger striker in this fight. He has a good chin. I don't think Ahmad is quite able to, going to be able to knock him out. And I think Elder is going to set the pace of this fight. And I think he could also put him away early. I think that's also live. I think that might be a prop bet I am going to take is an early round 1, maybe round 2 KO from Evan Elder. I think Ahmad's going to be good in the UFC. I think he does have a place, but I don't think he has a place against Evan Elder. What do you think?
Well, gosh. Well, okay, so I'm just gonna go off what I have in my notes.
Mm-hmm.
In case anybody was wondering, we have gone for every fighter and watched at least most of their fights.
Yep, absolutely.
So we have watched film and taken actual notes on all of these fights.
Yep,
That's how we're
exactly.
breaking these down.
Yep. Just bear with us because it was a lot of fight tape, and we have continued.
It was
we
a
were
lot.
doing this before we did the podcast, just purely for betting reasons. So we have a lot of fight tape up in the head and in the vault, but sometimes it takes a little bit to kind of shuffle through it.
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
But
it was
bear
a
with
lot.
us, please.
But, so what I have is I think they're both good fighters,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they're about the same level on the ground, so nothing's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
The only success either of them is gonna get on is gonna be on the feet.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happens, I'm taking Evan Elder by knockout or decision.
Yep, I think that's going to be probably something I take too is the double chance KO decision for Evan Elder. I think
I just think he has a slight edge, and if it's on the feet, I feel like he has the edge.
Yeah,
striking.
Yeah.
So,
but if you like Ahmad in this fight and you want to take a long shot, I think the submission prop is live.
Ahmad submission.
Excuse me, sorry. And I think that's going to be his best bet to win in this fight. Yeah. All right, you want to break down our last prelim of the night?
Ooh, yeah. All right. We have Matt Schnell versus Jimmy Flick. Matt Schnell is currently 6-1-1 in the UFC. And he is coming into this fight looking to end a 3-fight losing streak, losing twice by knockout and then once by submission. He's pretty quick on his feet, and he likes to put together punch combinations that can do some damage. He averages 4.3 significant strikes landed per minute. He lands them at 39%. But he also does absorb 4.5 significant strikes per minute. He has been a little bit chinny in the past. His ground game is decent with a 0.5 takedown average per fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
15-minute fight.
Yeah, half a takedown per fight, or per 15 minutes. But he lands those at a 40% accuracy. He does have a 50% takedown defense and has 3 submission wins in the UFC. Jimmy Flick is 2-3 in the UFC and is coming off of a decision loss to Nate. What is that? Manis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Flick is less active on the feet, but he still averages 1.9 significant strikes per minute. Lands at 50% accuracy. He also takes a lot of damage He also takes a lot of damage because he absorbs 5.4 significant strikes per minute. However, he is
human punching bag.
Oh, honestly, both of them kind of are.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Yeah,
both of them for sure.
But he is very skilled on the mat, averaging 1.5 takedowns at a 21% accuracy.
Mm.
His real threat is the 4.3 submission attempts averaged per fight.
Mm-hmm.
Just actively seeking submissions. So
He's a guard puller too. He pulls guard. He works off his back,
Oh yeah.
and he will just snatch an arm out from you and armbar you, or he will snatch your neck and
He's-
get an
he's a-
anaconda or a darce or a guillotine on you. He is very, very active off of his back.
And very live for a submission.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me see what we got. So he has been knocked out 6 times. Jimmy Flick. He's never knocked anybody out in his career, though. He has 15 submission wins and no losses. Snell is coming off of 3 consecutive losses, 1 being by submission. Schnell also has no knockouts in the UFC, so the knockout prop bets completely leaving him out of this fight.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's getting knocked out. If anything, it's probably, in my opinion, let me see, Jimmy Flick. Yeah, probably. I'm gonna have to say Jimmy Flick by submission, just because of how active he is on the mat.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think that Schnell is a good striker. He's durable because he has to be, because he gets hit a lot. But I think Jimmy Flick is gonna be struggle on the feet a little bit. He's been KO'd 6 times. He's definitely very chinny. But his real threat is on his back on the mat. I like the alternate double chance victory here, where you take Matt Schnell to win by decision or Jimmy Flick by submission. I think those are the 2 paths this fight ends. But I think that if anything if you are dying to take a KO prop on this fight, I think Matt Schnell is going to be the pick. Definitely not Jimmy Flick. Jimmy Flick, and I think the only reason that Matt Schnell would get a knockout is because he puts really good combinations together. And Jimmy Flick's very chinny.
Yeah.
And that's really what that count on would be. But I personally probably won't take that risk. But I also might, because I'm a degenerate, so we'll find out. Alrighty, and that is going to wrap up the prelims for this fight. Time for the main card. Alrighty, and we're back. Let's get into the main card of UFC Kansas City. First up, we have Ikram
Aliskerov.
Ikram Aliskerov versus Andre Muniz at the middleweight division. Ikram Aliskerov has a professional record of 15-2 and a UFC record of 2-1. His last fight was a round 1 loss to Robert Whittaker by KO. He is 32 years old, has a 76-inch reach. He fights out of the southpaw stance, and he lands 7 significant strikes per 15 minutes with 60% significant strike accuracy, and averages 1.82 takedowns per minute, and has a takedown accuracy of 33% and a submission average of 1.82 attempts per fight.
Fact check, 1.82 takedowns per 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. Andre Muniz has a professional record of 24-6 and a UFC record of 6-2. He is 35 years old and has a reach of 78 inches and also fights out of the southpaw stance. He lands 1.97 significant strikes per 15 minutes. His accuracy on those significant strikes is 63%. He also has a takedown average of 4.23 per 15 minutes and has an accuracy of 50%. His submission average is 1.25 attempts per fight. Or is that takedown average as well? No, that's submission. That was submission.
Yeah, no, that's his submission average.
Alrighty. I think Ikram Aliskerov has strong striking with a deadly 1-2. He supposedly has a strong wrestling background, but we haven't seen him use it in the UFC yet.
No.
He has a good chin, and has only lost to Robert Whittaker, which we cannot hold against him because Robert Whittaker
No, that is a tough fight.
Yep, absolutely.
That's a tough fight for anybody. That's Robert Whittaker.
Yep, especially fairly early in your UFC career.
Absolutely.
And he also has an early loss to Hamzat Chimaev, the man on your shirt right there. I also have the
DDP's going
Hezbollah
down.
shirt going. Represent Team Dagestan all the way across.
Are you taking Ikram then?
Yes, actually, I am. In this fight, my pick is going to be Alex Zafarov by finish, however he wants. I think he might try and showcase that wrestling background. I kind of get Gene Silva, Bryce Mitchell vibes from this fight, where everyone is talking about Alex Zakarov's striking ability and his capabilities, and they think he's lacking on the feet or on the mat. When in reality, he is well-rounded all the way around, just like Gene Silva. And I think people are potentially sleeping on a submission prop here as well. But I think the knockout's also very live. I think Muniz is a small threat on the mat if he can get it there, and Alex Zafarov doesn't have as strong of a wrestling background as he's been said to have had. But if he does have the background he has, it's been foretold to have, then I think he's not going to be a problem on the mat and could even get a sneaky sub prop here. I think this is a good fight, but I think Ikram is going to be pretty dominant in this fight all the way around. And if you're picking Andre Muniz, I think you're wrong.
Good thing I'm not.
Okay. All right, we're good
I
then.
also have Ikram, and like it was a hard one for me to look at, but I do think Ikram easily takes this. But
Yeah,
I
for
do
sure.
not think
I would agree.
I don't think he's gonna grapple if he doesn't have to. So I have him by knockout or decision.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's very live, very fair. Let us know what you guys think about this fight in the comments. Does it also give you Silva Mitchell vibes, or am I completely on an island on my own? Let us know. You want to break down this next fight for us?
I can. We got Randy Brown and Nicholas Dalby. It's a welterweight match. Excuse me. Randy Brown has a professional record of 19-6 and a UFC record of 13-6. His last fight was a loss to Brian Battle, and I believe that was in December
Yeah.
of 24.
I would think that is correct.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive.
I'm
Randy-
fact-checking right now.
Okay, let me know.
December of 2024. December
Beautiful,
7th.
beautiful. All right, so yeah, a recent loss to Brian Battle.
Yep.
As we all know, Brian Battle is climbing up the rankings right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't necessarily hold that loss against him.
Mm-hmm.
But back to him, he is 34 years old, has a 78-inch reach, fights out of the orthodox stance. He lands 4.3 significant strikes per 15 minutes. He lands at 51%, has a takedown average of 0.8, and his takedown accuracy is 39%. He has a submission average of 0.5. And then you have his opponent, Nicholas Dalby, has a pro record of 23-5-1 and a UFC record of 6 wins, 2 losses. Was it a no contest?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, so 6 wins, 2 losses, 1 no contest. He is coming off of a split decision. God, I don't even want to say it. I can't pronounce that name. It's Renat something.
Fakhretdinov? Fakhretdinov?
We're going to stick with that. Renat
It
is...
was a no contest.
Thank you. Renat is 40 years old and has a reach of 74.5. So Randy Brown does have the reach advantage of 3.5 inches in this matchup. He also strikes out of the orthodox stance. He lands 4 significant strikes per 15 minutes. He lands at 52%, has a takedown average of 1, and a takedown accuracy of 28%. He also has a submission average of 0.08. So I don't necessarily see a submission even attempt at all from Nicholas Dalby. It's not happening. And Randy Brown's younger. we've seen fighters that go against people that are in their late 30s, 40s.
Yeah, 34 versus 40
Honestly,
is the age gap here. It's
It's-
pretty significant.
it's always safe to pick the younger fighter.
Yeah,
honestly,
absolutely.
it's such an important thing people forget about. And because of that, I'm taking Randy Brown, by knockout or decision.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I see it pretty much the same way. My overall, though, on Nicholas Dalby is that he is ridiculously hard to put away. He's resilient.
Yeah.
And he always manages to win at least one round. And for that reason, my pick is going to be Randy Brown to win by split decision. Nicholas
Ooh.
Dalby is the split decision king
Oh,
in the sense of losing split decisions. He always at least gets one judge on his side that is and keeps it as a close fight. And I think that Randy Brown is good enough to win over those two judges. But I think Nicholas Dalby is going to keep it close enough to win that one judge over and cause a split decision on this fight.
I like that.
Yep.
Yeah, especially out of all the fights that we've gone over so far, I feel like this one definitely has the most potential to be a split decision.
Absolutely.
So I do like that pick. And I would consider changing mine to knockout or split decision.
Yeah.
I do like that. That's a good pick.
Absolutely. Alrighty, moving on to the next fight. We have a pretty flashy fight, a fight that we've already kind of mentioned.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
For this one. We have Michel Pereira versus Abus Magomedov at the middleweight division. Michel Pereira is 31 years old and has a professional record of 31-12-0. He is 9-3 in the UFC and has a 73-inch reach and is an orthodox striker. He has 11 wins by KO and 9 by submission. His last fight, he lost to Anthony Hernandez. He has 40. He averages 4.46 significant strikes landed per minute with 54% accuracy. He's landed. Sorry, this overview is a little janky here. Bear with me. He lands 4.46 significant strikes per minute with 55.64% accuracy, and he also has a takedown average of 1.27 attempts per fight with a just shy of one submission attempt average per fight as well. Abus Magomed has a professional record of 27-6-1 and a UFC record of 3-2. He is 34 years old and has a reach of 78 inches and a 5-inch reach advantage overall. He is also an orthodox fighter. He has 2.65 significant strikes average per minute, landing at 50% accuracy. He has 3.12 takedown attempts with 64% accuracy and has a 0.28 submission average. I like this fight. I think I am also kind of conflicted on this fight. I could see it going both ways. Pereira's got that strong striking. He's extremely aggressive, and he tends to put his opponents through an onslaught of submission attempts and brutal, powerful punches and kicks and knees and elbows and anything else he can get his hands on you with.
Yeah.
And I think the name of the game for Abus is going to be surviving that first
2 minutes.
2 minutes of the fight. And I think if he does survive that, I think he wins this fight. I think he probably wins it by decision or maybe even a late finish, probably submission. But Michel Pereira, that first 2 minutes, he comes out of the gate just ready to take everyone's head off. It's something that most people don't survive. And I'm really conflicted on this fight. I think I like Michel Pereira, double chance decision, no action on that one. or maybe even a just round 1 finish.
Okay.
Anything else though? I think it's Abus. I don't think Michelle Pereira is going to win a decision in here against Abus. And I think
Don't speak
Abus.
badly about my king ever again. All right.
Okay, let me hear what you got then.
I have Pereira,
Yeah,
and I don't think it's close.
really?
No,
Okay, tell me why.
Not a chance. And I'll tell you why. Here, I'll
Okay.
tell you why. All right. And this is one of the ones y'all can quote me on. You can clip this, right? Yeah. If he can survive those two, he's always live for a knockout.
Mm-hmm.
Pereira is.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear my pick? And then
Yeah.
I'll explain it.
Yeah.
So I have Pereira by submission.
Okay. I see the vision. I can see it.
Like, because
Early?
it's going to the ground. No, not well, maybe he's always live.
Okay,
for an
maybe I
early
don't
finish.
see quite the vision you're thinking then.
Abus likes to go to the ground.
Yeah.
Pereira is comfortable there.
Yeah.
I think Pereira is a better grappler than Abus.
Okay.
I feel like he takes that. If he doesn't knock him out,
Mm-hmm.
like my safest bet is, I still think just flat method of victory knockout.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't happen, submission.
Fair enough. All right, so you got the Pereira side on this. I think I want to take the Pereira side with you, because I don't think Abus can survive that early.
It's
Early
rough.
onslaught.
He throws everything at you.
And that's where I think Abus is going to crack. I don't think it's going to be a later round kind of crack thing. I think Abus has really high level grappling, and I think
Well, even if he chins him for a second, Pereira is also known to chase submissions when you're stunned.
yeah, that's fair
He
too.
doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily
absolutely.
always
Yeah, no, and
try
that's
to finish
that's
it
the
with the
vision I thought
hands.
you were going with initially
No,
with
yeah.
the submission thing.
Yeah.
Was that he stuns him and then pops him in a anaconda or a
Well,
dart
it's-
stroke?
I just know Pereira is dangerous with his submissions, and he
Mhm.
likes to attempt them.
Yeah, I would agree.
He usually almost attempts one per fight.
Yeah,
And I feel like he can get it.
yeah, no, that's fair.
Whether it's him, just regular grappling with Abus, or if he has to rock him and then set up a choke or something. But I do have him by submission.
Fair enough. All right, let's get into this next one, buddy.
All right.
Giga Chickadees Day. I love saying that name, man. It's so fun to say. Giga Chickadees Day versus David Onama. What do you got, my brother?
All right. So Chickadees Day, right?
Chickadees Day?
Yeah, Chickadees Day is 15-4-0 in professional MMA and 8-2 in the UFC. His last fight was a loss to Arnold Allen, which was a great fight. I watched it.
I did too.
At least for Arnold Allen.
Yeah.
He is 36 years old, has a 74-inch reach. He's also a orthodox striker. Lands little under 4 significant strikes per 15 minutes. He lands his significant strikes at a 43%, and he has a takedown average of 0.2, a takedown accuracy of 33.33%, and his submission average is 0.21. And then moving on to David Onama, he is 13-2 in professional MMA, 6-1 in the UFC. He is currently on a 3-fight win streak. His most recent win was a knockout on Roberto Romero. He is 30 years old and has a 74-inch reach. He is also an orthodox fighter. He lands 5.6 significant strikes per 15 minutes, and he lands them at a 53% rate. His takedown average is 0.7, and his accuracy on those takedowns is 20%. His submission average is 0.5 as well. So in this fight, I think it's a slept-on banger. I really do.
I would agree.
Whether it's a one-side beatdown by either person or just an all-out war for 3 rounds, it's a banger. I feel like it's going to be a very exciting fight. I just think stylistically against each other, they match up fantastic. I just want to see if Chickadees Day's gas tank will hold up
Yeah.
against David Onama.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a component for sure.
Because David Onama is just constantly going. That's what he's known for.
Yeah.
He's just go, 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 go.
Mm-hmm.
All gas, no brakes. So if his gas tank can hold up, I can see it being an all-out war where Onama takes the decision. But I think he's going to take it second or third round knockout.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We are in the same camp. My pick on this fight is purely David Onama money line. I
Think he's live for a submission?
think he's live for a submission. I think he's live for a knockout. I think he's live for a decision.
It is David Onama.
We talked about Roberto Romero versus David Onama earlier, and we talked about it from the perspective of how well Roberto Romero performed in that fight. But what I want to talk about is the absolute beating that David Onama gave him during that fight.
Unreal.
How active he was, and how much he was working in that fight. And his cardio did not let up. He just kept beating and beating and beating on Roberto Romero. And Roberto Romero did have some good counters, and it showed that David Onama does have that chin still. And he's very durable himself. I think overall, Giga Chikadidze, while I love saying your name, I think you're going to be
Rest in peace.
outclassed all the way around. I think you're going to be outclassed on the feet, and I think you're going to be outclassed on the mat. And I think it is kind of David Onama however he wants. But I do want to give the credit to Chikadidze and give him that decision component probability, because I think he is tough as well.
You could take an alternate victory chance for Onama knockout and take Chikadidze by decision too.
Well, because Chikadidze has never been knocked out. He's 9-0 for knockouts, and he's 1-1 for submission. So I think the submission is more live than probably a knockout would be. But regardless, I like this fight. I like this matchup, and I'm ready to see this fight and these two guys go at it in the octagon.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Alrighty, next up on the docket, we have the co-main event.
Oh no,
We have Anthony Smith versus Zhang Mingyang at the light heavyweight division. Anthony Smith, he is coming into his 60th professional fight. He is currently 38-21 in his 59 professional bouts. Mm-hmm. Sorry. And he has lost his last two bouts to Dominic Reyes and Roman Dolidze. Anthony Smith has a UFC record of 13-10. He has a 76-inch reach. He's an orthodox striker. He averages 3.2 significant strikes per 15 minutes with 51.99% accuracy. He averages 0.44 takedowns per fight with 23.53% accuracy and 0.061 submission average. Zhang Mingyang has a professional record of 18-6-0 and 2-0 in the UFC. He is on an 11 first-round KO win streak. His first
brutal
KOs,
first-round knockouts.
His first two UFC KOs were over Ozzy Diaz and Ribeiro. Zhang Mingyang is 26 years old, 10 years younger than Anthony Smith. He has a 7.75-inch reach, so he is significantly longer than Anthony Smith is.
Anthony Smith's reach is 76
Anthony Smith
inches.
is 76 inches, so it is a little bit shorter than Anthony Smith. I don't know why I thought that was less. But he also lands 8.57 significant strikes per minute or 15-minute fight. No, that's not right.
It's 8.5 significant strikes per minute.
With 56% accuracy rate. Old Man Smith is been on a slide for a little while. He is a veteran to this game, and all respect to him. But Zhang is knocking him out in the first round, and there's nothing else to it.
And there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah,
It's already written in stone.
Zhang has the kiss of death in his right hand and his left hand.
At any given time, too. It could be the first punch in the match, dude.
Yeah. He's a Chinese. He's from China, and the UFC is pushing Chinese fighters pretty heavily right now. And he is one of those that I think the hype around him seems to be fitting so far, and I think it will continue to be fitting against Anthony Smith this night.
An 11-fight first-round knockout streak is insane.
Yeah. Even though only 2 of them are in the UFC, but he continued into the UFC
and
already.
The 2 that he did in the UFC was Ozzy Diaz and Ribeiro.
Yeah.
Which aren't like top-tier
top
contenders, but they're well-known fighters.
Absolutely. I would agree with that.
So it's still impressive he came and did that too.
For sure.
Both of them.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do to Anthony Smith. I might finally pull the trigger on that first 10 seconds of a fight KO prop bet. I think it could be live. I don't want to really disrespect Anthony Smith like that.
Do not follow.
Yes,
we do not
just
support.
so you know, we are not actually giving you genuine financial advice. Our actual financial advice is do not bet. You should never bet with anything you are not willing to lose. We do not bet in high quantities quite yet. We maybe eventually like to, but we cap ourselves usually at about $50 per night. And we try and gamble responsibly. If you need help gambling, I know there are resources out there for you, just about everywhere. So please do not think this is financial advice by any means. We are degenerate gamblers, and more than likely, none of this money we will ever see back.
Yeah, we mostly do it for fun.
Yep, absolutely.
It's not.
But that being said,
serious.
I am putting the house
Okay.
on Zhang Mingyang.
Pull the mortgage.
Round 1 KO.
I'm right. I'll double it.
Double mortgage.
All right.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I absolutely have the same pick.
Yeah.
And if you watch the fight next Saturday, and you will see how big this man's calves are. That's no relevance. He has some big ass calves. Like it genuinely
Pause.
No.
No.
It genuinely like threw me off.
Yeah, no, for sure.
When you just see how
he's
a shit brick house.
beefy dude. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. He's Chinese lab experiment.
How young is he too? He's 26.
Yeah,
he's what, 12 years younger?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Anthony Smith did go to decision with John Jones at one point.
Not when
in his career.
John Jones wasn't fucking 12 years younger than him.
That's just true though.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
Age
that was a
plays a
prime
factor.
Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
Anthony Smith in his prime versus Zhang Mingyang is maybe a different story. But
but
Anthony Smith at 36 years old and coming into his 60th fight, that's a lot of damage for any human being.
But long shot pick of the night. People forget Anthony Smith has 21 first-round finishes in his professional career.
That's true.
And he has done so multiple times in the UFC. So, prop bet, Anthony Smith, first-round finish. The odds are going to be crazy.
This fight alone, breakdown is so clippable for us, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But good stuff, man. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens. I could be wrong, but yeah, I don't see this going Anthony Smith's way.
Yeah, honestly, it's either
More
first-round finish Min Yang or first-round finish Anthony Smith.
Yeah? Yeah. Does not leave the first round prop bet.
No.
Or fight does not go past under. Definitely take the under. I'm taking the under on this fight.
You might be able to hit that first, what's it called? Finish in the first 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That one is probable.
60
too.
seconds instead of the 10 seconds one.
Yeah, this fight is not lasting long.
Yeah, I agree. All righty. Let's get into the main event, buddy. I'll let you break this one down.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so if you guys didn't know, I love the Fighting Nerds.
We both do.
I think they're fantastic.
We both think the Fighting Nerds are potentially some of the best fighters, like new generation fighters in the UFC currently.
And I'm
for sure.
I'm
For
excited
sure
to see
currently.
it too.
Yeah.
But my favorite always out of the four has been, well, actually, it was the first one I learned about was Carlos Prates.
Yeah.
And then I slowly found, Kyle Barajo, and
hmm
when I was like, oh, who the
My
hell is
first nerd
John
was
Silva?
Caio.
Yeah.
Caio Barajo was my first nerd that I got introduced to. But my favorite currently is the Nazi Slayer, John Silva.
Hell yeah.
Right, my
Oh,
boy.
they're all great.
And
They're all
Marcio
great.
Ruffi is very close second. But
He is
Carlos
flashy,
Prates
dude.
and
he is flashy when he fights.
yeah,
It's
they're all fantastic. I love all of them. I would love to meet any one of you. Whatever you guys need, we're down to come help out, help promote, or I guess you promote us definitely. But we would love to interview you guys one day or talk to you. But yeah,
that's the goal.
yeah, absolutely.
We got to get somebody on here.
Yep.
We
We do eventually want to expand this to having guests on, having more elaborate conversations. And if you are interested in some of our other content, now's a good time to introduce that we do have a second episode coming out this week. It's going to be the plot twist episode. We're going to talk about conspiracy theories and pop culture. That's movies, TV shows, music, current events, anything we feel like talking about, we're going to talk about in that episode. The Punchline episode is going to be reserved for MMA and sports-related topics, primarily UFC. But then that plot twist episode is something for us to... Every week, we're going to give you a new conspiracy theory. We're going to give you the accepted rhetoric. And then we're going to give you a couple of the less accepted rhetorics as well. And then it's up to you to decide what you think. We're going to tell you what we think about it. And then we're going to spend the rest of the time talking about something else related. This week, we're talking about Marvel's Daredevil Born Again and the season that just came out. The season finale just wrapped up.
It's a good show.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that a lot. And then we're also going to talk about some country music related stuff.
Yeah, and
a little heated debate, potentially.
It's not. It's not a debate. It's not a debate.
But we have a lot of good stuff planned for you.
I'm gonna win though.
But before anything else, if you've made it this far in the episode, we want to say thank you for listening this far. If you've made it this far, please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know you listened. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think we can change, what we can do better, what we did great. And we appreciate and we love you guys regardless. Let's get into this main event after you say whatever you say.
Real quick, we also have a Instagram and a TikTok you can follow.
Yep.
Same name, Punchlines and Plot Twists, right?
Yep.
And in our Instagram, we have a link tree with our Gmail.
Yep, it has a Gmail to it, and in our link tree will be links to our Spotify or Apple Music, anywhere else you can find our podcast. All of our social medias will be in that link tree on our Instagram, Punchlines and Plot Twist Pod. Woo! Alrighty,
Hell yeah.
let's break down this main fight event.
All right, I'm ready.
Main fight.
I am ready. So we saw Ian Machado Gary take on Shavkat Rakhmonov on short notice.
Yes, we did.
Just a little over 2 weeks. And he did a fantastic job.
Yes, he did.
They were both undefeated fighters going into it. It was a fantastic match, honestly. 5-round banger. And yet again, he's stepping up on short notice to fight one of the fighting nerds, Carlos Prates. So we're going to start with Ian Machado Gary. He is currently 15-1 in MMA, and he is 8-1 in the UFC. His last fight was the loss to the title contender now, Shavkat Rakhmonov, by decision. He's 27 years old, so he's still really young. Has a 74.5-inch reach, lands 4.72 significant strikes per 15 minutes. He lands those strikes at a 59% rate, has a takedown average of 0.75 and a takedown accuracy of 55%. And his submission average is 0.5 per 15 minutes. And then his opponent, Carlos Prates, he has a professional record of 4-0 in the UFC, all of them coming by knockout. He's 6'1" and has a reach of 78 inches. So he does have the reach advantage. How much would that be? 3.5-inch reach advantage over Ian Machado Gary. He's a very good kickboxer, Muay Thai. He fights out of a switch stance, lands 4.3 significant strikes per minute. He lands them at a 58% rate. Has a takedown defense of 91%, which is fantastic. His takedown defense is really good. He has a takedown average of 0.44 per 15 minutes, and his takedown accuracy is 100%. So going into this fight, I have a lot of notes that I'm not going to completely go over here.
His column is like 5 times the length of mine for this fight.
The fighting nerd. Hell yeah.
But that's my here. Let me give you my breakdown real quick first, and then I'll let you get into yours. Okay?
All right,
Because
fine.
yours is going to take just a little bit longer.
You guys want to hear the professional opinion last. Yeah.
I like Ian Gary. He's an active striker. He's got a good chin. He's got good takedowns, and he's a decision merchant. He likes to let almost all of his fights go to decision, and most of those decisions he wins. But I do not think that is going to be the case in this fight. Pratis's pure Muay Thai power, his kicks, punches, his use of the clinch, and his absolute extreme kiss of death in his hands is going to put Ian Machado Gary to sleep. I think probably round 1 or round 2, but it's going to be a Pratis KO. What do you got for this one, buddy?
You want the breakdown? Because it's just going to be Pratis by knockout.
Yeah, no. Give me your breakdown. I want to hear it.
all
That's
right.
why I wanted to
So-
give you the time.
I know. Pratis, in all of the fights that I've seen, I've watched even some of his just professional MMA, not necessarily UFC fights. He's so patient. He is so patient. He never seems to rush anything. He's perfectly fine with sitting there for a minute just to get one good left hand landed.
That's fair.
And the kiss of death he has is insane.
Absolutely.
He puts on so much damage
Yeah.
for how much volume he doesn't have that much volume, but he puts on a lot of damage. He's really good in the clinch. Like, his Muay Thai is insane. I believe he has an amateur Muay Thai record, or is it professional? Yeah, professional Muay Thai record of 64-6.
Yeah, something like that.
Fantastic Muay Thai artist.
Yeah.
So he's just
Let me
really,
fact check.
really comfortable in the clinch, and he's really comfortable just standing at range, picking you apart. And that's what I see happening, honestly. I see Gary maybe trying to take him to the ground, but his takedown defense is great. So he maybe gets him to the ground once, but overall, I just see Pratis being patient and waiting for his, the right moment. It's going to happen. No doubt in my mind about it.
So it says he has estimated over 100 fights, but then he says his record's 21-6.
Professional MMA record. That's not Muay Thai.
Oh, Muay Thai. He
Scroll-
stated
Scroll
around
down a little bit.
100 and 103
Yeah, maybe look at something else here.
Apology.
No.
I'm not sure, buddy.
Somebody fact check me.
Yeah, someone figure it out for us. We'll go from there.
Got way distracted there.
Yeah.
But overall, I've got Pratis by knockout.
Pratis by knockout.
I'm taking it round 2, or because there's a lot of hype around the fighting nerds right now. I don't necessarily think that means Carlos Pratis is just going to purely dominate Ian Machado Gary. Because Ian Machado Gary, I don't think he's as good as everybody says he is, but he's still a high-level fighter. It's the highest competition he's fought yet. So I feel like Ian Gary could survive a little bit longer than his previous competition.
I like
So
round 2 as well.
I'm taking round 2, but I'm also going to take a round 4 prop knockout.
Is this a 5
Pratis.
round?
It is. It's the main card.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's a 5
That's
what do you
fair.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Alrighty. Well,
So I can see Ian Gary surviving 3 maybe.
yeah.
And if he does, he's going out in the 4th.
round 2, I didn't think about it as a 5-round fight. Now that I am, I don't know. I think
Because Prates might gas out too. I've never seen him in 5 rounds.
I like Prates,
You know, but
and
I still have full faith in him.
I like Prates in 2 or 3.
That's a great pick too. I either see
Yeah.
it being late or it being early.
Well, because Prates, all of his finishes are what, rounds 1 or 2?
I believe so. I think he has maybe one round 3 knockout somewhere.
He is a decision way back in 2019.
2, 1. Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like all round 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Bam! Round
Round
3
3
knockout.
Yep. 2012.
In-
Renato da Silva. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna stick with 2 though, dude. I think I like round 2 knockout
No,
for this fight.
that's my
overall.
main pick. It's just
Yeah,
I
secondary.
think if he doesn't get him in the second, I think it's going to be the 4th.
Yeah, no, that's definitely very fair.
And if you guys want to do something absolutely ridiculous, do not follow this. All right? Anthony Smith, first round finish. It's just a 2-leg parlay.
Absolute long shot parlay.
Anthony Smith,
30 cents pays out 30 million.
probably. Anthony Smith, first round finish.
Okay.
Carlos Prates, submission.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that'd be something new too.
I've got faith.
Prates and Silva both come out with submissions.
Because let me tell you, if Prates comes out and submits him,
Yeah.
we know Rufy can grapple.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But-
for sure, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they all train with each other. They got to have something.
yeah,
So
definitely.
that might be a sleeper pick.
Yeah. It might be.
Point
It
it out.
might be a long shot parlay. We'll find out for them, so they don't. So that way they don't have to. We will find out for them. We'll put that parlay in,
I'll let you guys
and
know.
we'll post it on
Oh, yeah.
TikTok whether it hits or not.
We'll let you
and
know.
Instagram. Which
Unless I'm
you guys should
completely
check
wrong.
us out on Instagram and TikTok. On our Instagram, you can find our link tree that has a link to all of our socials. We want to thank you guys if you've made it this far into the end of this episode for sticking around with us and listening to us and bearing with us through this first episode. I know it probably wasn't exactly perfect, but we're learning through this and we're only going to get better and we're only going to keep doing this. So please like, comment, subscribe, share us with your friends. Comment, let us know what you think. Let's get active in the comments. We'll be responding to people in the comments. And if you guys want some more, make sure to check out our second episode. That would be the plot twist episode where we are going to talk about Walt Disney being cryogenically frozen under the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And we're going to talk about some Marvel Daredevil and a couple other things. So make sure to check us out there. We love you. We appreciate you.
And if you guys have anything specific you guys ever want us to talk about,
Put it in the comments.
just let us know.
Absolutely.
Just let us know.
All right. We love you guys. We will see you later.
Peace out,
Peace.
homies.
Peace.